Good evening. This is yet another episode of the Sudhir Mishra Show. This is the episode number 17, and it's a very important day for us because there are certain stories which have a very unique potential. We have met all kind of people on this platform. We have seen eminent senior advocates, eminent legal personalities, managing partners, but there are very few stories which touch your soul. When I met Mr. Sanjay Jain, Senior Advocate and Additional Solicitor General of India, I was blown away with the kind of journey he had done. Before I bring him on the program, the only way you will realize in next 30 to 40 minutes when we'll talk to him, that his journey is exceptional. The kind of journey on which movies are based, on autobiographies are based. To introduce him, before introducing him, I'll just recite one very important poem by Pukhraj. He's a historical person. तरकश तोड़ दो चाहे, चाहे छीन लो भाले, जिसकी जीत मुमकिन है वो एक तीर से पाले. ये धरती तुम्हारी है, बिछाओ शूल या जाले, गगन में उड़ने वालों के पैर में होते हैं कब छाले. Mr. Sanjay Jain, we welcome you to the Sudhir Mishra Show.
Thank you.
Sir, it's a pleasure to host you, to ask you to share your journey, know your story. And you are somebody like Garima is just joined in, Ashima has just joined in. These are the people who have shaped up business world. My entire team was wanting to know that Sanjay Jain, one of the longest serving additional solicitor general, most elusive, why he was not in platforms. And when I met you, and I'm so happy that you gave us time and we visited you, and we realized that certain journeys, they just come so close to you. And I have lived that entire story in last 1 week, 10 days since I met you, sir. I want to know you that as a 3-year-old, when you started your life, you will have no memories of that. But when your memories actually are there today, as you speak, how do you describe your childhood?
Well, childhood was a little bit of a struggle, but then I had the I would say wonderful pleasure of being the recipient of affection of my maternal grandmother, and it is she only who shaped my basic teachings in life, and based on that I have built my life brick by brick, as it eventually turned out.
Yeah, sir, when we see the journey of a successful lawyer, a senior advocate, and as an additional solicitor general, people think, they look at your cars, your buildings, your houses, your bungalows, your entire profile. They don't know कि पैर के छाले कहाँ थे. इसलिए मैंने पैर के छाले से शुरुआत की. You have been educated into different states. Before coming to Delhi University, you spent some time in Allahabad, and then you went to actually Bihar, which was Bihar at that time, now Jharkhand.
Yes.
Tell us about those early days in your life.
Well, early days in life, as I said, that they were a bit of a struggle. When I was 11-year-old, my maternal grandmother, she got bedridden, and there was no one else in Allahabad, any other adult member. So I had to take care of her at the age of 11, and then due to financial constraints, my school bus was the first casualty, and then I had to walk to the school all the way. And she expired in 1973 in summer vacation, before summer vacations, and my final exams of that class were still due. So after her departure, the servants, etc., who were there for cooking the meal, they also left, and for about 20 days or so, I had to cook my own meal. And thereafter, in those days, there was no direct train from Allahabad to Ranchi. So I had to change a train from a station called Gomo in Bihar.
Yes.
So I went to Ranchi from Allahabad as an 11-year-old child on my own. So that was quite adventurous, I would say.
And what was the school like in Jharkhand? I had the privilege of studying in Chaibasa and Gumla, so
Yeah.
I know a little bit of it. Most of my friends were using arrows. Actually, they used to
Yeah.
keep arrows on their back on their cycles. When I was in school in Chaibasa in Lupungutum, that was the small village I was studying. So you have memories of your school there?
I don't have such a exotic setup as you in my memories. It was we were living at a place called Kanke Road in Ranchi.
Yeah.
And there was a neighborhood school called Central Academy. It was being run by one Mr. Chaturvedi, who I think also had some schools in Delhi also at some point in time. So that was the closest school from where I was living. And it was a sort of a bilingual school. And at that point in time, Ranchi, the academic session would start from January.
Yes.
So, and here in Allahabad, the academic session would start in July. So after going to Ranchi for 6 months, I had to be without schooling. So actually, it was in 74 January that I could commence my class 8th.
Yeah. And sir, again, this was disrupted. Even the class 10th was not possible in Ranchi, and you had to rush to Meerut in Uttar Pradesh now. That was your third place. And when you come to Uttar Pradesh, in again circumstances which we don't want to dwell into, but the fact is, it was entirely different culture for you. Ranchi, very sublime, and when you come to Meerut, very boisterous. Yes. So how was the transition, and do you have some fond memories of Meerut?
Yeah, in fact, Ranchi, the way people would speak was very very melodious, rhythmical.
Yeah.
So in comparison to that, the way Hindi is spoken in Meerut is quite harsh.
Yeah.
So it was a harsh reality and awakening. I had to start class 10th.
I think again, because you were already there in class 10th.
Yes. So it was a board year. So I didn't have much time to actually absorb the culture of Western UP. So it was all sort of shock and awe in the beginning. But gradually, I think I was a quick learner, I believe. I got acclimatized to the ways of Meerut, the way people would respond, because their is understanding of civilities and their understanding of greeting each other or discussing the subjects was totally different what it was in Ranchi.
Correct, sir. Absolutely. That's why it is said that the kind of transition in 1965, you were 3-year-old, yes. And then you were moving from city to city, yes. And the kind of affection and nurturing which normally is expected for a child was not happening that much in that proportion. But for you, Sahir Ludhianvi has said, हजार बर्फ गिरे लाख आंधियां उठे, हजार बर्फ गिरे लाख आंधियां उठे, वो फूल खिल के रहेंगे जो खिलने वाले हैं.
क्या बात.
So Meerut gave you the identity. You did your 10th, you did your 12th.
Yes.
And you also want to talk about the Bihar board and the UP board, the common misunderstanding which people have. Our Prime Minister tries so hard to tell that the education system of our country is very good. You have any, I want you to share that observation, sir.
Yes, I would believe that this notion that CBSE is superior to other boards is a overblown, misconceived notion.
Sure.
If I were to rate in terms of the quality of syllabus, and the enormity of syllabus rather, then I would put Bihar board above Allahabad board, which I did.
Right.
And CBSE would come last in that. CBSE, and at least in my time, was easiest of the three. I would place Bihar board as number one, and Allahabad board, which was prevalent in most of UP, was number 2. And CBSE used to be number 3 because in my colony where I would live in Meerut, I had some neighbors who were doing CBSE, and I would find their syllabus quite easy as compared to mine.
Yeah, and sir, I have to share with you that when I did my 12th from Banka, in Bihar, which was the only inter college for the entire district.
Oh,
I was second in the college, and I was facilitated at least 9 places. But when I came to Delhi University with my 59.2% marks, I did not get admission in any college. So I was shattered. But I had this belief that I have done very well in Bihar school. Finally, I got admission in third list in Deshbandhu College. So I'm so happy that you are saying something for Bihar board. And after 30 years, roughly, you saying that has really made me smile on this. Yeah. Sir, your 12th was from Meerut, and you are now you are doing a journey, and you mentioned a word to me which was very dramatic, that 50 paisa in your pocket.
yes.
You travel to Delhi. Now
Yes.
Delhi, which is your place, which you are the Sultan here, you are a legal icon. It brings you to Delhi. Tell us your Delhi journey now.
Well, I came back to Delhi where I was born in 1979 after doing my.
Not 1979, sir. You were not born in 1979.
No, I came.
Yeah.
I was born in Delhi in 62.
62, correct. Yeah.
I left Delhi for Allahabad in 65.
Correct.
I came back to Delhi in 1979 after doing my class 12th. And before the results came, I came here. And this 50 paisa story is from there only, that after paying for the roadways bus from Meerut to Delhi, when I landed at ISBT, I had 5 rupees. 4 rupees 50 paisa was spent on the three-wheeler from ISBT to Curzon Road. So after that, I had 50 paisa in my pocket. So that's the 50 paisa legend is from there. Well, I mean, legend in the sense my personal story.
Yes. Yes.
So from there, it is quite interesting because I had filled up the form only for one college, that is SRCC.
Correct.
And but my luck, as my luck would have it, that particular year in 1979, which was first batch of 10 plus 2 plus 3 in Delhi, my result in Allahabad board was late. It came very late.
Yeah.
Time it came, the first 2 lists of Delhi University were already out, and as a result, I could not get admission in SRCC, and I didn't know people here. I didn't try any alternative route.
And you had exemplary marks in class 12. I
Yes.
think you had 95.
So that was only in one subject in the Allahabad board, and especially in those days, marks were not so high. It was only in 70s, but it was 2% higher than the cutoff list of SRCC.
Yes.
First list.
Yes.
So as I said that I didn't know people around. I didn't have any idea. So I thought that I will have to pack my bags back and go back to Meerut because
That's interesting, sir. Very interesting story. Yeah.
That's the only place I had filled up. So then somebody in Asia House suggested to me that maybe you can try South Campus. So the closest bus stop was Baroda House. I went there and I figured out that there is a bus number 410 which goes to South Campus. So I asked the conductor to give me the ticket for the first college, which was PGDAV. So I got down and went in, showed my mark sheet, and the PA to the principal ran inside. He brought the form that you fill it up and your admission is done. Deposit the fee. So I had to tell him that I have not brought money to deposit the fee. So he said, all right, you bring it tomorrow and your admission is confirmed.
Yeah.
So then I thought that, yes, finally, Delhi has accepted me back.
Correct. And for them, it would be such a big surprise because I was staying next to the boundary of PGDAV College in 1989.
Oh.
When I came to Delhi University, there is a place called Vinoba Puri.
Yes, yes.
So me and Manish Prabhat, who is now ambassador to Tashkent from India, we were roommates there. And I told him this story, that you were across the boundary, but you had passed out much before that. You had passed out. It had a great football ground because you used to see that football ground, and it was. And you told me that it had a great cricket team also.
Yes, yes, absolutely. That's the year when I joined. We defeated St. Stephen for the first time. Mr. Kirti Azad was the captain there. Our captain was probably Arun Khurana. So anyway, so after that, DAV College was not only champion in football, hockey, athletics, but also in cricket for longest of time. In fact, there was half of Ranji Trophy team used to be coming from PGDAV only.
And sir, if I may ask you that when you were in college,
Yes.
most of the time you're not only doing your classes and understanding the subject, you're also teaching at that time.
Yes, I had to, because the circumstances were such that, and my interests in literature and watching plays and other things was little more than what I could afford otherwise. So I had to do some tuitions to make my ball rolling.
Yes. And thereafter you join, sir, I'm going a little more detail into your academics, because in most of the time we used to come to the cases and the courts, but here it is, I'm taking time because a lot of notions are going to break today. So you come to evening college, Mandir Magh of Delhi University, which
Yes.
was very sought after. Even when I joined Campus Law Center in 94, Mandir Magh was supposed to be the #1 center, which a lot of people don't know even now. That
Yes.
It was not Campus Law Center, which was glamorous, Mandir Magh, because it was very professional, better professors were there. So why did you join there, and what was your entire activity there?
See, after doing my BCom honors from PGDAV, I had, when I decided to do law, the option was available that I could join Campus Law Center, which was more sought after for various reasons. One being that it is in the campus itself. But I preferred Mandir Magh because it would give me ample opportunity to be able to participate a lot of debate competitions in Delhi University. At that point in time, almost every college used to have festivals, and many, apart from festivals also, there were many debate competitions, and there were cash prizes. So the incentive was to earn that extra cash prize. And also to do my bit of tuitions and all. So Mandir Magh classes would start at 6:15. So that was my reason to join Mandir Magh, because it enabled me to sustain my economy and also pursue my passion in debates, poetry, and there were few more competitions like creative writing and just a minute, etc. So that.
And also, sir, you said to me, and
Yes.
which many people have told me, that when you are in Mandir Magh, you used to meet a lot of professionals.
Yes.
Who were already doing, they were civil servants, they were CEOs of the companies. So that you, like, people know you as a senior advocate, as the top law officer of the country, but you had a legal mind as a lawyer who has to think 360-degree also from the business part, the marketing part. You will talk about it later. I'll ask you specific things, but you got a very good galaxy of good people you met for the first time.
Absolutely. Because the profile of the students in Mandir Magh, Law Center 1, was enormously wide and I would say versatile. We had bankers, IAS, IPS apart. We had people from different walks of life, and also the youngsters. So it was a healthy mix of all variety of people, and which made Law Center 1 a very vibrant place. And apart from that, in those days, the toppers used to be from our center.
Yes.
And we had some extraordinary brains who as our seniors. And especially if we had any difficulty in understanding any subject, apart from our professors, these seniors were also always very willing to tell us and teach us. So their mark at that point in time, at least in my tenure from 82 to 85, was an outstanding part of the faculty. I would rate it better than CLC of that time, at least.
And how serious was moot courts, internship, all these things which are new things now? How serious were they at that time?
So our internships were only in the families. I mean, those people who had somebody in the family. There was no concept of internships at that point in time. Though one of our professors had already mooted the idea of 5-year course, and he was exploring the possibility, Professor Madhav Menon.
Correct.
And but so far as moot courts and debates are concerned, in our time, the presidents before me, and I was president of Madhyan Marg in 84-85. In
Yes.
my time, I conducted a full-fledged festival, and we had organized about 3 moot courts in the entire academic year. So we were exposed to moot courts, debates, but moot courts were just I mean, they had just begun. I mean, they were
Yes.
not. They
Correct.
have a much old history in Delhi University,
Hmm.
and also the way the rules are structured today. When you go and judge a moot court competition, you find that it is very elaborate. The papers are prepared, the subject is prepared, and it is very structured. It was not that structured in those days, but nonetheless, it was there in its nascent form.
I agree. So now you come to the ocean. Now you come to the big ocean called legal profession. And then you realize that, okay, tuitions were fine. You managed to reach this far. 62, the journey started. It was tough. It was a movie stuff. Now you are actually challenged where nobody cares. Nobody actually cares. And then what was the sense of rejection, sir, you talked about, that you tried? Well, you are one of the toppers, one of the most accomplished student. How was it? And then finally you landed up to Sharda ji's place.
Yes. You see, whatever I did in my academics in my school days, all that it fetched me was a scholarship and a gold medal in for class 10th. My marks in English, and though I was a Hindi medium student, so in Meerut, somebody getting 96% in English was a big thing. So
Yeah.
students would come from far and off to see my mark sheet to say that yes, we wanted to see, to believe it. And based on my class 10th mark sheet, in 11th, I was able to take tuitions in English for class 10th students.
Wow.
That was that was the plus side of my. But the marks in my LLB, I was amongst the top 10.
Yes.
Did not help me in entering into the law chambers. I tried my best to find some senior in Delhi High Court. I was unable to, because I did not have any adequate reference. So almost everybody rejected. So then I went to one of my friends who is now a partner in non-litigation side in one of the big law firms, Mr. Munish Sharma. His father used to be session judge in Tis Hazari. So I went to him and requested for an opening somewhere. So he gave me a reference of Mr. Satish Chandra Sharda, who was a civil lawyer, had an office in Roshanara Road opposite Plaza Cinema. So I went to him. He said, "All right, you join from this day." And then I joined him, but he made it clear that he won't pay me any stipend. So I had to be on my own. So I said, "All right, I'm here to learn." So with Shardaji, the benefit was that he had mostly institutional clients. So the clients were not on his head, because those days the clients, those who were individual clients, they would be there on the head of the lawyer as parocar of their own cases. But institutional clients, by institution I mean banks and insurance company. He had banks and insurance companies. So he would take it a little easy sometimes. So I had the opportunity to do the miscellaneous arguments, and gradually the examination in chief, and then gradually maybe an odd cross-examination within period of 7 months. So
and after 7 months, sir, I'll just complete this story. You tried asking for some money, at least, like some money to survive, and you realized that he was quite offended with that. And finally, you realized that if I have to work for free,
yes,
why don't I work for Mr. Sanjay Jain rather than for anybody else?
Yes, I asked him to support me with a particular amount, which he said no. So, and by that time, my savings from my college days were over. So I thought that if I have to work free, then I might as well work for myself.
Yes, sir. So Amrita Pritam said about this particular dilemma you had. तुम लपट को चिमटे से पकड़ते हो, चिमटे से लपट नहीं पकड़ी जाती.
क्या बात.
लपट को लपट से पकड़ी जाती है, लपट को लपट से पकड़ी जाती है, चिमटे से नहीं पकड़ी जाती. तो you decided to take the bull by the horn.
Yes, I had to.
You said, I'll go all out. I have to work for free. That's a very defining moment. No pedigree, no third generation lawyering. Now here is the disruption happening, which is a news for everybody. You are actually going all out now. Now, how did you chart this path?
See, what I did was that I realized that in legal profession, there is no way to advertise.
Yes.
So the only way was to use your goodwill. I didn't have the benefit of schooling in Delhi. I didn't have the benefit of studying in a college where the alumnus would be of any, I would say, not in that sense, but they were not so well placed that as they would refer any work to me. So whatever goodwill I had was in my law faculty days and those 3 years. And because I was in Mandir Mark, so I had people who were already established, and those who saw me either as a debater or as a person who was involved in doing various activities as a president of Law Center 1. They had some implicit faith in me, so they gradually started referring work. So my clients in the beginning were lawyers only. The lawyers who had passed out from Law Center 1 prior to me and my contemporaries. It's because I didn't have any background. And obviously the panels, the co-panels would come only after you have n number of years in the profession. So in the beginning, in 86, when I was in the market all by myself, so I had to rely on the references from lawyers only.
And so very interesting thing happened. You actually went to your father.
Yes.
And you never took any favor from anybody. This is what I have learned about your story. But you said you helped me in somehow, and he did help you with 15,000 rupees. And it was a huge sum. You had a dilemma. Shall I buy a scooter or shall I buy a chamber in Tisejari? And you know, everybody who told me that you should go after Sanjay Jain, why they said that I should try and convince you for this interview. Another one, because this is very timely here. 2 people, I'll name them. They said that he's very low profile, but he is a person who has come from basically the trial courts. He has done umpteen number of trial, and from there now he's assisting the government in these highly contested matters. So they said, ख्याल करके जो मैंने देखा, उसी की सूरत चमक रही है, उसी का नक्शा है 4 जानिब, उसी की रंगत दमक रही है. As low as, and this is by Warsi, who is Afghanistan's one of the topmost in early 18th century. So people said that this person is very low-key. Even if you associate him that one time Arun Jaitley wanted him to be the judge or whatever, and I realized that I'm missing something. I know you for almost 7-8 years now. So tell me, sir, what did you choose, the scooter or the chamber?
I chose the chamber because I thought that once I'm here in the courts, I needed to have a place in the courts, because at that point in time in 86, right, the lawyers were given their identity by the place where they were operating from. So obviously I didn't have the resources to have an office in any, I would say, attractive place like Central Delhi or South Delhi. So I wanted to begin with an office. So chamber was the cheapest option available. And then I thought that whether I come by scooter or I come by DTC bus, which I used to, so who would know? So ultimately people would come and meet me only in chamber. So therefore I made a chamber, and I made a decent one, in the sense that I did proper paneling and all, and I made one of the most attractive chambers in Tisejari, and I started.
Yeah, and sir, because we are the last part of our interview, now the interesting phase starts. You won a major case for a Jorbag landlord.
Yes.
And then you made a strange request to him that I can be your tenant.
Yes.
And it was so audacious, ambitious step from your point of view. It was very futuristic, no doubt. but how difficult that step was. You had to pay so much of money upfront. You tell us about that story and also the crockery story, sir.
So it is like this. It goes like this, that I realized that in Delhi at that point in time, you were known by your address and the first numbers of your telephone number. So suppose your number starts from 5, then you are a branded West Delhi. And if the number starts from 6, then you are a South Delhi. And your number starts from 4, then you are Central Delhi. 3 or 4, because 4 was added later. So then I thought of when I did this case, and in those days when tenants would get leave to defend just for asking, I was able to get a rent control case in favor of my client in Jorbagh, and he was little reluctant to give it to anybody because he was having some apprehension. So I asked him that, look, now that I have got you the possession, so my relationship with you as a lawyer client is over. So it will not be contrary to my bar council ethics if I become your tenant. So will you accept me as a tenant? He said, yes, I will accept you as a tenant. He quoted a particular rent. And though I had the vision of having an office in Central Delhi or south of Delhi, so that I could give a next level to my practice. So then I asked one of my friends who's now a judge somewhere, so that you please, would you please, you also are looking for a place, you come and see this place. So we went, it was a Barsati in Jorbagh, and we decided to share the rent and make an office. And we did make a good office because he had some contacts in the market who would be able to do the good woodwork. And so we did a pretty good job of an office. I remember that through his contact, my colleagues' contact, Jetli sir and Mukul sir had come to see the office.
Wow.
And they all appreciated it.
Sir, on this note, I have to ask you about that one case which really, you mentioned many things, but what stayed with me, how you are a disruptive lawyer.
Yes.
That you wanted to take in a matter, one of the critical client came to you. Like in everybody's life, one critical client comes in. In my life, Dr. Subhash Chandra came in 7 years back, and we started working for Z for virtually every vertical. And that client came from Northeast, and you wanted to engage Arun Jaitley ji for a very important matter. And he was not convinced that how he can go to Guwahati High Court for this matter. He thought it's not the right forum. Tell us that how a lawyer should be thinking disruptively when everything is against the wind.
My client had an issue in the intellectual property field pertaining to trademark. Now, trademark, as we all know, is an original site proposition, and the minimum it has to be before district judge. Now, unlike Delhi High Court, Guwahati doesn't have an original site, and he wanted to do the litigation only in Guwahati High Court. He was not willing to do it in District Court of Guwahati. So, and the matter pertained to the lotteries, state lotteries. So after Suman lottery case in Supreme Court said lotteries could only be by the state government, but it was permissible for them to appoint sole distributor. So he was sole distributor. So I devised a scheme that if I have to be in High Court, I have to be in writ jurisdiction. So how to invoke the writ jurisdiction? So I said that, look, the intellectual property or the trademark is suggested by me, that is my client. I suggested to my state government. So my state government only approves it. So similarly, those who are copying my trademark, the other states, their sole distributors would have referred the trademark, and their state governments would have approved it. So I said that the decision of the other state governments, the decision-making process of the other state governments in giving an approval of a trademark which belongs to me is arbitrary and unreasonable. So it will, on the basis of Wednesbury principle, it can be contested in writ jurisdiction. So when I went to Mr. Jaitley for the first time, he said, look, it is absurd that you want me to do original side litigation in the writ jurisdiction, so I don't agree with it. But next day I received a call from Surinder, and he said that sir is calling you. So I went. So he said that, look, I thought over it, and the proposition that you are building is quite interesting. I can give it a try. We'll go. I said, sir, it will succeed. Don't worry. I mean, I just need you to give it a kickstart. And as it so transpired that till such time the lotteries were banned in the big states, that system of filing writs mushroomed in Guwahati High Court, and all the lottery players from different parts of the country would come in the same manner, in a virtual photocopies of my original writ. So,
So it's such a big lesson for everybody here, that not only you are disruptive, you took a tide which was against the river, and then you thought about it to convince such a giant of a senior advocate called Arun Jaitley ji. And it started a very enduring relationship with him, which continued till his last breath. And you respect him a lot. He always wanted to see you as one of the youngest judges. But tell me, I don't want to ask, you are in a constitutional post, so the last question which I'll be asking you, what is the music left which you want to play now?
The music, I would say that as a lawyer, every day the new challenges that I face gives me a lot of incentive and gives me a high. Every proposition, either of opinion or of litigation. So I'm quite happy. I'm quite contented what I'm doing at present. If any better opportunities come to me in my life in which I can serve the profession in some other capacity, I would welcome it. But I'm just expressing my gratitude to God that whatever He has blessed me with until now, I'm immensely grateful for that. I don't know whether I deserved it or He has given me according to my capabilities, or He has given me more. It is for others to judge. But I believe that if you don't enjoy a profession, you should not be doing it. I enjoy this profession the way I enjoy Kishore Kumar or Jagjit Singh or Lata Mangeshkar or Asha Bhosle. So it is, for me, each day is a music, sir.
And sir, I will not even ask you what is your advice to young lawyers, because you have told just now what is your advice. Make it your music, make it your liking, enjoy it. When I went to your home,
sir,
and I met you and your beautiful wife, I realized one thing. There is certain calmness about it. There is something very different about it. It's not easy. Like when you have a very harsh past, you have a very different kind of personality. But you are somebody who will remain a big inspiration in my life. And I'll just say the last lines of Amrita Pritam, my favorite poet, about you and your home. Jahan bhi azaad ruh ki jhalak pade, jahan bhi azaad ruh ki jhalak pade, samajh lena mera ghar hai.
Kya baat.
So thank you, sir, for coming to Business World's platform. This is being seen by live on many other places. My editor, Ashima Ori. Ashima, can you switch on your camera? And Garima is here, our business. Ashima is our editor-in-chief. She will also interview you. And I'm really grateful to you, sir, that you give us this opportunity to know your history, to know your life, your philosophy, what you believe in. And we are really grateful to you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for sharing your inspirational story today with us. You've inspired millions of minds, and we couldn't be more thankful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir. Take care, sir.